morning I woke up with a start thinking, oh no, it's on, and come rushing here, and there were all these strange people on the screen, and I thought, what's going on? I couldn't figure it out.
Nice. I'm sorry. That's a terrible way to wake up.
No, that's okay. It's not your fault.
But you bring up one of my very favorite quotes. It says, if you ever feel that you're too small to make a difference, you've never been alone in a room with a mosquito.
Yes. Yeah, it was annoying the hell out of me, and I couldn't find it, of course. But yeah. Oh well.
So we're doing level 14 today, yeah?
Yeah, we are.
How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. I've got it all going. It's actually good. It's good having that map that you sent out so that I know exactly what's coming next. So I can allocate time. I know how much time it might take me, and I just spend the time working on whatever I need to do next.
Nice. So I'm the only master in the Arcanum that's doing this, because they actually have the rest of the levels built out to level 20 as a general following, but I kind of wanted to test drive it. So tell me what you think about this, because it's a lot of work to custom build a sphere for everyone, like 10 levels individually, but do you feel like it's helping and it's more beneficial than the initial levels, or?
Absolutely, because I mean the initial levels, I felt like I was kind of jumping hurdles that were set by somebody else, and that, while they were useful for me in little bits and pieces, they're not as useful as this, because it's targeted, it means something to me, and it actually is very logical in the fact that I'm learning something or achieving something or getting something done that is going to help me later. Whereas the other stuff may or may not, depending on what you're doing.
Good. Okay, so you have to forgive me because I'm doing like 7 critiques today. So remind me, what did I tell you to bring to your level 14? What's your official goal?
We've got a portfolio of 20 images. So I've spent most of yesterday juggling those around and going, no, not that one. That one's out. Put this one in, and yeah.
That's what. Did you see Joni's post? She's like, oh, good. I'm not until 7. That means I have 2 more hours to pick out my images. I was like, Joni. I'm very excited.
Well, I kind of, every time I go to present stuff, I always re-edit anyway, unless it's something that I think that's finished, and I very rarely think my shots are finished. So I did re-edit some stuff yesterday as well as I went, so it did take most of the day.
I like having that much control over your lives that you guys spend a day editing before you come to critique. It's good that you have a healthy fear of me, I think.
I just want it to be right, and that's the thing. And when I do my new website, I want to make sure that everything goes up there is 100% right, to the last pixel. It's what I want. So, and some of these shots, I'll mark down and say, you know what? I hope I'll be replacing that one within 6 months with something better. And there's probably 3 or 4 shots in this that are like that. That I think they're actually more in there because they fit more than I think that they're better shots, because I just saw a couple of canvases as I walked past and thought, oh, maybe I should have put that shot in. But
right. So this collection of 20, I'm looking over your Sphere 1 map now. I told you to bring your 20 best images to offer on your site and portfolio for your main portfolio and for licensing and usage. So this should be the best of the best of the best. Yeah?
Yeah, except I did kick some out because they just didn't fit.
Okay. That's good.
The second part of that was that they have to fit together. So I kicked some out and replaced some in. So we'll see how they go, whether that you think they fit too. And the other thing was and how you sequence them, because this is something that I'm interested in finding out for my website anyway, because at the moment I've just got 10 up there, and they're just shots that sort of fit together, and I've deliberately gone with the idea that the next shot should be quite a lot different from this shot, so that if you get people flicking through it, they'll find something they like, hopefully, within a few times they flick. Whereas the ones I'm presenting to you today, I've actually kind of almost themed them together a bit more, so that they've got some sort of linkage with each other as they go through.
So this is one of the things that I have a lot of you focusing on Sphere 1, where like your level 4 and even your level 9 critique, Level 4, I just wanted to see your work and see, you know, what you guys had that you thought was good work for you. But since we're portfolio building, it has to work as an individual image and be strong, but it has to also, when it's on your website, it should very much give you a feel. Like, I'm willing to bet that I could take 100 images from all of you guys in the Convergence community from both houses, and I'm willing to bet that without seeing who posted them, that you could pick every single one that is Martin's image, because he has a very distinct style. That's something that I get complimented on a lot too, is that everybody knows when it's my photo before they see my name on it. So what we're looking for is diversity in the image and the subject matter, but continuity in the style of the artist. So they can be very different things, but there should be a sense that they all fit together, that they're all pieces of the same puzzle kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for in that. So I'm very excited to see, because I'm sure you're a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm sure like you sat and moved them around to see which level like they fit in and where they went.
Well, I nearly actually printed them out and did the sort of, you know how they have maquettes and they for books, and I knew I was going to print them all out in 5x7s or something and then put them on the table and move them, but I thought, no, that's going too far. I'll just do it, and I put little numbers in front of them so that I can make them slot in the screen in the right sort of order, and then I go through them and think, yeah, that one followed okay. Oh, I didn't like that too much, but you know, and try to make it so that it actually fits together as a sequence.
Okay. So usually what we do is we do 5 images, and you get between 0 and 3 per image. So you're getting a total of 15 if you score perfectly. So I'm going to score on your individual images, and the way that we're going to get you for points is how many images I would take out of them. So you have a potential for 20. And I'm gonna chop them down if I don't think they're good enough to be in your final portfolio. So we're looking for at least 15 of them to stay. You have 5 freebies. Other than that, if you drop below 10, you don't pass level 14.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun. So I'm ready when you are, Handsome.
All right, thank you. So I'm screen sharing here. Is that the green? Yeah, green one.
Yep.
We've done this before, haven't we?
Like a pro.
There it is. That's the one. So we're going to share that one. It's going to come up in front of me, hopefully. Ooh, I'm not seeing anything. I hope you're seeing something.
I'm seeing the 20 of them in the main file. You may have actually selected that window instead of the individual image.
Can you see the whole image now, or have I selected the wrong one?
No, I'm seeing. I think you selected that specific folder, because I'm still seeing all of the little thumbnails.
Oh, okay. Shall I unscreen share and try again? Yeah.
You can also just share this screen in general and then just maximize that and make that your screen. That might work better if you're just pulling from the folder.
Okay, so I'm screen sharing now.
I see me.
Okay, that's good. That works then, maybe. And you should see the first one, which is the Fairground Attraction shot.
There we go. Now,
okay.
You adjusted this one a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, because the last time you said you couldn't see, because the trouble is looking at this over the Google Hangout, you can't actually see the details. So I made sure the city in the background. I went back and brought those levels up with the city in the background a bit, and then just sort of followed what you said last time, just to get it so that it actually looks good even on a Hangout, hopefully.
Yeah, it's much brighter. I like it. It gives it a totally different feel from when we saw it at level 9. It's interesting how much of a different photo it is now. I love this one. I loved it last time. I wanted it. It's in my queue for the Creation Wars. So obviously that one's staying because I think it's amazing.
Cool. Okay. Do you want me to just keep flipping through these until you find something you hate, or we'll go?
Yeah, let's do that. That'll probably be image 3 or 4. I mean, no, they'll all be wonderful.
Okay, so this is another one you've seen before, and I've edited it since and added in everything you suggested. So the lights under the bridge, which are actually walkway lights on the side, but now they've got walkway lights in the middle of the river, which balanced anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, things like the sign that you couldn't see that was connected properly, and what else was there? There were more clouds in the background now, and yeah,
Yeah, I
so
like
that's
it.
done.
How are you
So
feeling? Are you liking it better, re-edited?
yeah, look, it's fine. I mean, I have a little bit of, I must admit, when I first started you suggesting me move things around and change how they looked, the part of me that's been doing the stock photos went, oh, I can't do that. I won't be able to sell it. But then on the other side, I thought, well, you know what? If it's I'm selling it for art, I can do anything I want with it. I can turn the bridge upside down, you know. So I just have to be mindful of that sort of thing when I'm selling them, and there'll have to be a note on my website that says this image has been digitally enhanced or something. So if somebody wants to use it, say for a travel log or something like that, they know that there's been some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they're happy with it, I'm happy.
Yep. Let's see the
They're
next
paying
one.
the money. Okay. This is the one from my last critique, and I think there's only a minor change that I've made. This bridge actually hasn't got a smooth top like you expect it to have, so it was showing some of the ribs on it, so I just removed them so that it wasn't distracting.
You brightened a lot of these up. I'm seeing.
It might be the screen, because my two screens are slightly. I've deliberately had, because I do the color check them and everything every month, but I deliberately have the one on the right slightly brighter because I'm aware that some people do have their screens brighter, and if you don't, when you're editing, and so if you're putting screening something in on a different layer, you might actually. I've had this before where I've added, I can't remember what it was, fireworks or stars or something, and you could actually see the edges of the layer because their screens were way too bright. So what I've done is my screen that I'm sharing it on now is actually brighter than it should be, just so I can see things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it. It's good. Okay. Next one.
Oh, you haven't seen this one before?
I haven't. Yay, new work. Okay, so tell me about this one.
This one's in my hometown here, and they're actually doing a lot of development work in this area, but the town is a very eclectic mix of very new architecture and very old architecture, and the rotunda there on the right, I believe, was actually made in the 1800s in England and then shipped out here and put in the middle of a park by the river, and the building in the background is the convention centre, and you can see cranes where they're building the new hospital behind that, and all this sort of thing. So it's one of those ones where hopefully it shows where we've been and where we're going. But I've deliberately
I like that.
Deliberately kept it so that there's narrow focus, so that the background is not in focus as the foreground.
Mm-hmm. I like that, where we've been and where we're going. That's a good tagline or title for that piece. And I really like this one. The crane is driving me nuts in the middle. Not so much the one that's off to the edge, but it's the green and the red light keep pulling my attention away from the arboretum, and I definitely want her to be like the queen of the shot and have the lead role. But I do like the dichotomy of like the really sleek kind of, modern city, and then this kind of ornate, almost Victorian-looking older piece with it that's still standing the test of time kind of thing. But I would really, really consider taking out at least that one crane, and that one would be one that you could get rid of without worrying about stock photography, because it's a crane. Eventually it won't be there. Like, it's a temporary fixture. So that might just be my personal preference, though, but at the very least I might consider getting rid of the lights that are on it, because that green light just pulls me right to it. The only other thing that I find just a little distracting is there's like, I don't know if it's a building or what it is, but behind the one pole there's like an electric blue kind of color to the one that's dissected in half by one of the poles, and that's a really saturated color where everything else is kind of muted because it's more of a night skyline. So I might consider tweaking those two things, but other than that, it's a beautiful shot.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, I did. I actually hadn't noticed that before. That's underneath a bridge where they actually light them up for people's safety. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's what that is. But I can easily tone that down. Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah, the whole
I'd be
skyline.
really interested to see this one in black and white too. I feel like there's so much texture and information going on in the foreground that it might be stronger as black and white.
Yeah, it could very well be. Yeah. One of the things I try to do is to make with my shots is to make them so that if you do get them printed out, you can actually see more in them as the more that you look at them. I think that's a test of a shot that works. But also, I'm always striving for simplicity at the same time. So there's this struggle between having the simplicity but having the depth in terms of other information in there that you can see. For example, you've just pointed out something I've never noticed before, and I've probably looked at it hundreds of times. So there you go. And so
Yeah, I like it though. It is a really pretty shot. I love seeing new work from you.
cool, because there's a
All
few
right.
of them in here.
Good. Let's see the next one.
I don't think I kept all of the old ones. Here's another one. This is actually part of a. When I was living in Melbourne, I lived on the 34th floor, and I had quite a good view. And I would put my camera, at least one of them, out there, just getting time lapses. And this is part of a time lapse.
Okay.
With this fog rolling in, and I've got it. I don't know whether you can sell time lapses, but I've certainly got quite a few of them. But this fog rolling in over that stadium where the roof can open and it lights it up and all the rest of it. So this is one of the shots that I hopefully would be able to replace later. I probably shouldn't say that to you right up front, but I don't mind it at all. I think it's actually, I think I've sold it a few times on stock as well. But it's to me with my current sort of goals and ideas, it's not where I'm going now. It's the stuff that I used to do, and it's a fine city shot and all the rest of it. But I'm sort of moving past this sort of stuff now. So yeah, so it's sort of only just in there because it fitted better with the sequence than more than being the top 20.
You just found your first cut.
I talked myself out of it, haven't I?
Well, and here's the thing is that I would rather you have a website with 5 incredibly potent, strong images that just drop jaws every time somebody signs onto your site than 20 images where 5 of them are incredible and 10 of them are really good and the other 5 are okay. My other concern is that you just said yourself, this is one I want to replace. This is not where I'm going. So you only show the work that you want to be hired for. I'm totally fine with people, accepting jobs and getting paid in different genres or for different work that they don't necessarily love doing, but you only show the work that you want to get hired for, because what you show is what you will show people that you do. So that's what they'll go look for. So this image that does speak to people will, push them to push you in that direction for commissions and other work. So based off of your own analysis of it, it would go. And I don't think it was this one. I think you showed me one that was similar to it but didn't have the fog, and I'm still, it's this building. It's not anything with you. This building that has no windows sticks out like a sore thumb to me with all of the city lights.
I've fixed that in that shot is in this collection, and I have fixed that. I've stolen a facade from another building.
It makes me crazy. I don't know why. Because it sticks out because there's so much texture and lights, and then there's just this big blob of solid. So it bothers me actually, and I love the fog rolling in and over, and that you can kind of see it. Like it almost looks like surf from like the ocean coming over rocks, because you can see the bits and pieces of certain buildings coming through. So I'd actually be inclined to make this to crop it differently, and crop it up higher and crop a lot of the bottom off and let the fog be a little bit more of the focus in the lead role in this one. But compared to some of your other work, I don't think that this is as strong of an image. So I don't know that this would make it for me purely on an artistic level as well. It's probably my least favorite that I've seen. So the fact that it's not where you want to be seals it for me. So
Fair enough. Let's go.
one down.
Yeah, one down. This one is, in fact, I think I told you when I was sort of looking ahead that I want to do some a lot more panoramas and things that are sort of bordering on no longer being photography. And this is the basis of one. I'm actually going to do a road trip next month, and I'm going back to this very place on the other side of the continent to see if I can get a panorama of this shot in very high resolution. And if I can't find somebody to stand there on the practice green to hit golf balls, I'll add this person back in again, or I might even go down there myself. But it's sort of dawn breaking, obviously over a golf course and a very dramatic sky, and the light actually shone through those apartments, which I thought was amazing when I saw it, because they're glass on all sides on the beachfront there, or near the beachfront, and it just comes straight through, and there's this beam of light that comes, and he was actually originally only standing in half of it. He had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I moved the beam of light so that he was in it because I think it looks better. So it's going to be a panorama eventually, but and then I'll be able to actually place them a little better on the frame. But this is the original one that's inspired it, and I still think it stands up as a piece on its own. I like it because it's got that unusual look. It was unusual for me because I'm never up at dawn.
Yeah. I agree. I haven't seen this one before, and I love it. I think this is a new favorite. I think this is my favorite piece I've seen from you so far now. The light is beautiful. You did a fantastic job moving the light over. That was absolutely the right call if he wasn't all the way in it, and you did it masterfully because I would not have known that you moved it because I was sitting here the whole time going, that's awfully convenient that the sun cooperated with him in that manner.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. I love the rays of light. This absolutely looks like the perfect image that I would want if I owned that golf course and that hotel. Like, that would be my image that I would want on all of our marketing materials. I have no critique for it. It's perfect. It's gorgeous, and you should definitely put it in the Creation Wars catalog too, so I can pull from it and tell you to put that one up too, because I think it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
I'm looking for something to critique with you. I think the only thing that I might pull out is in the lake dead center. I don't know if they're rocks or plants or whatever, but those two little patches of darkness in there, they might even be birds. Those are the only thing that are a little distracting. The more I look at it, I see eyes. Like, it looks like some kind of like water monster.
Yeah, nice one. I found it.
Yeah, but that's like, and it might just be the reflection off of it too. I'm not sure what it is without seeing like the high res, but that's the only thing that I can pull out that might be a little bit distracting. This is just a phenomenal shot. I'm not even trying to critique it. Like, this is probably your best one. I would put this as the first image that's seen on your website.
Yeah, the issue, because I was going to ask you about that later, the issue I have with the website is the aspect ratios, the different shapes of the photos, with having some panoramas and some normal, 4x3s, and I've even got squares and stuff like that, that they don't always fit after each other. And when we did the last critique, you said I should put the fairground story shot first on my website, but the trouble is it's a panorama, so a lot of the real estate on your page is black. So
okay, we'll take a look. We'll take a look at the website after we get through all the images.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very much work in progress, but you can see what I mean. Yeah, and
okay.
Here's a panorama. Yeah, I actually like doing shots of in the wine country. This is actually not far from where I was born, and I sort of hang around there a bit. It's sort of 3/4 an hour from my place, but I get down there if I think there's going to be a reasonable sunset or anything. I head down that way, and this time there was actually a lot of, I don't know whether it's haze, I don't know what kind of haze it is, whether it's from the sea, because the sea's off to the far distant right, or what it is, but it's yeah, it's a panorama deliberately done, and I was very aware when I did this shot. It's one of those few shots I actually made the way I wanted it to look from scratch, because I see stuff that is similar to this in terms of its composition, where you can see the ends of the rows and all that sort of stuff, and the distance. I did it thinking of you know, wine country travel brochure sort of shot. So I actually, you know, as I said, it's a deliberate effort at trying to get a shot that would sell in that market, as well as being something that I would like to shoot, because otherwise normally I would shoot in the 3x2 format or what have you. But I wanted to get this. I actually went driving around for quite a long time to find a valley where it would work to go across this, because they seem to, I don't know why, but they seem to use a lot of these panoramic images. So I guess they can have the text above or below on the page.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's exactly. This is kind of like an attempt to sort of get all that right.
This one doesn't do it for me. I think this would be the second one that I would nix. You have so much power behind your images, and there's so much richness to the image and the color without it being overwhelming, and I feel like that's lacking a little bit here. It's a pretty photo, but it's just a pretty photo. Like, I don't look at this one and feel like I couldn't go to that spot and take that same image. And a lot of your photos, when I'm really like, like, I couldn't take the photo on the greens that we were just looking with the golf course. I couldn't do that because I'm not a landscape photographer and I don't do that kind of photography. But this one, I feel like the skills that I have as a photographer in general would allow me to capture that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
no, that's a good test.
I think that you are strong enough in your genre and with the potency of the images that you create, that you don't need anything that is less than stellar in your portfolio. And for me, this is a good photograph until I know it's yours, and then it becomes mediocre because I grade it against all your other photographs. So if you were less awesome, it would make it, but now it doesn't. It's a good thing. Well, it's a compliment. But this
I hope you're keeping track of, or maybe I don't hope that you're keeping track of the ones that are getting out here.
That's it. I think it's just the two so far. You're doing really well.
This one, I've actually included this David Zipprich. This one's included because he actually liked this one when I was put them out there on level 8. I think it is when you get ready for level 9, and I struggle with sometimes. Look, I love doing landscapes and all the rest of it, but I just wonder whether you can make them fit into a portfolio. To me, this is exactly the kind of shot that I want to take if I'm going to a waterfall. I got exactly what I wanted. I'm perfectly happy with it. But I wonder sometimes how you fit together shots, and there's another one coming up later. I wonder how you fit shots together into a portfolio that this might be one of the few that is absolute nature in it, or whether it's okay to do that because it represents the extremes of what I can do. It very much fits into the travel. It's a shot that I'm quite happy with, and it ticks all the boxes. But I'm wondering whether people would look at it and go, "Hang on, most of your shots are nighttime in the city, aren't they?" Yeah.
I'm okay with this, and we talk about this a lot in my other groups too. I think that as long as you can follow the thought process, like. Have you ever had a conversation with someone, like my husband's like ADD, so he's like, squirrel, and you can't tell how he gets from point A to point B in the thought process.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for that connection, and I see it here. Like, it's very easy. If this was suddenly a portrait of a person, then we would have an issue with why it fits in. Here I don't see a problem because it's still in that landscape, cityscape, architecture, you know, like I can follow you from natural wildlife landscape shots into landscape, into cityscape, into architecture, into amusement park. Like, you can follow the theme of that because it's still all following. So I think that's fine. I think if we start adding pictures of, you know, of people and puppies and wedding photos, that's when we start to go, well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, right now, you're a really, really accomplished environmental photographer. Whatever the environment is, the location, the travel, you can go and you can photograph that, whether it's trees or buildings, and you do it very well. And I do think that this is a really strong shot, and this one may have just replaced the golf course one for me, because some of that's personal, because this is where I want to go sit and hang out for a couple of hours. This is beautiful. But I love the texture and the richness of it and the colors and all that green. And I love the way that you framed it, that it kind of has this natural-born vignette going on, because you have all the light and the white from the way the light's falling in and the waterfall centered, and it darkens on its way out from just naturally from the elements that are surrounding it, as well as the retouching. This is a really, really beautiful image. It would absolutely make your portfolio for me, because I think it shows your diversity as an artist without stepping outside your genre.
Cool, okay, because that's what I've been worried about. I deliberately left out stuff that I think is very strong, but it's street photography, and it's and it just does. I can't make it fit, no matter what I do. So, and this one, I was just a bit worried whether this would fit. So, yeah,
well,
okay, that's.
If you have a collection of images that you're looking at and going, these are some of my best pieces, but I can't use them because they don't fit, I would definitely get a second and third opinion. I would put them in Sphere 1 with your fellow cohorts and tag me and tag a couple other people and go, hey, can I include these? Where's the thought process? Because I wouldn't have even momentarily thought for a second that this doesn't fit with your work. I think, again, depending on the layout and how we present them together, you know, because your theme, your connecting thread could be as simple as green. Like, this one would go really well as a second image because you follow the green. And then you can go into one of your cityscapes that still has park elements and, you know, some kind of landscape element in it that pulls you into the cityscape, so that it's a fluid transition. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, absolutely. This one would stay for me. I love it. I think it's one of your best, and I think it is very sellable.
Yeah, in fact, I think it has sold. I'm not sure. It's funny because I don't keep up with a lot of them, because some of the stuff you don't know why they're buying it. So it's hard to actually say and you know, put one up, notch one up on your graphics tablet to say, yep, that one's sold as well. But because you don't know why they're using it, it might just end up being a blurred background for something or whatever. So I don't take a lot of stock in, pardon the pun, in what's selling, because you just don't know why they're buying it. I've got a koala shot that's sold so many times, and I can't figure out why, because it was in my front garden, and it's a very ordinary shot, I think, but it's sold so many times. People like it. I don't know.
Because it's cute, and it's a koala bear.
Yeah.
That's,
this
you
one's
know,
like
honestly, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, well, it could be. Could be. I have no idea what they're using it for. That's the thing with stock. You never know where it's going. Alrighty, next one. This was taken only about a few miles down the track from that last one on the same trip. And
wait, I'm still seeing the waterfall folder.
Has it caught up?
There we go.
Okay, yep, takes a little while to caught up. I've got two different edits of this. One of them's after you critiqued it the first time. This is the original, because I think this has got more drama in it, and I'd prefer to have this one on my website. The other one, I think it's because when you were looking at it, you were looking at it on the Hangout, and it looked like it was blown out in areas when it really isn't blown out. It's just deliberately quite bright, and they're also quite dark areas. So I actually think this, when you put them side by side, this is a better shot. It's more drama in it, and it's funny because I've had the same feedback from people on Flickr and other places where I've because I posted the new one and then I put the old one underneath it, and they said, nah, I like the old one better because it looks like this, some more drama in it. So
okay, do we have both of them?
I might have, if I went back into my other screen, I have got, let me see.
Here's the thing is that you know, they trust me to be a master and to teach you,
Yeah.
and I can give you advice all day, but at the end of the day, nobody's opinion should matter to you more than your own.
Yeah.
So
Can
you
you
can
see that,
take
that
it,
shot now?
yeah.
That's the new edit. It's actually a shot. It was like one frame beforehand and a slightly different cropping of the same area, but it was edited with, you know, how you can see into the shadows now, and the bright areas are not so extreme and all that sort of stuff. I just personally don't like it as much.
Okay, let's go back to the original.
Okay.
Yeah, see, you took all of my advice and you followed it, and I think that I like the after better, but I also totally understand the appeal of the first. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, especially if you went as far as to re-edit it based on the advice. And if you're looking at them side by side and saying, no, I like the first one better, this is your photography, this is your image and your voice, and you know what you like. So if you don't love it, it shouldn't be in your portfolio. And, you know, my opinion is really just that. Like, I can give you a bunch of feedback, but really the goal with critique when you're getting it from anyone is to have a fresh pair of eyes to look at it and go, oh yeah, I didn't notice that, like you were doing with the other one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
or to look at it and go, oh, okay, that's an interesting opinion. But no, like it's totally okay to do that, you know,
Mm.
because in the end, it's your signature that goes on the bottom of the print, not mine.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
wanted to
so
try it and give it a fair chance, and I just looked at it and I thought, you know, it's just too bright for me, for where it was, and of course I've been there, which is the advantage I have, where you haven't, and it was very dark, and the dark areas were very dark, and the bright areas were very contrasting and bright, and I wanted to convey that feeling, and to me it just feels more like the way it was.
right. Good. Well, then this one stays because it won for you, and this one fits very well with the waterfall one. That's a good lead-in.
Yeah, they sort of got the same darkness. As I said, I've tried to make them so that they kind of fit together in some way or another, but it's it's a
Okay.
difficult thing to do when that wasn't the original intention. If you choose your best 20 images and then try to make them fit in with the theme, it's probably not as good as if you actually choose the
Oh,
images knowing what the theme was in the first place.
trust me, I hear you. I've had to cut some of my favorites off my website too, and it was like pulling teeth to get me to take them down.
Yeah.
But no, I love this one when you showed it last time. So, and I'm with you now. Like you explored somebody else's opinion that you didn't necessarily agree with to the fullest extent and came back around to the same conclusion. That's a solid conclusion. That means that you were able to take the critique and that it was just that. It was critique. It wasn't gospel. So that's, you can't handle critique any better than that. Like you went and you explored it to the nth degree and said, okay, I'll take all this into consideration, and then you had both sides of the opinion to look at and came back to yours, which I think is really strong and it's the mark of a good artist. So bravo. 5 points for you.
Thank you. Okay, next one. Another new work. This is a library in this city which is no longer used as a library. There are some students in there studying, but it is a beautiful old building called the Mortlock Library, and I went in there not knowing whether you could shoot or not, so I took my little Fujifilm in there
Nice.
and took the shots. And I've given this a treatment sort of like similar to I actually like a lot of way Trail treats his images, post-processes them, and I sort of followed one of the styles that he did with a I think it was a library somewhere in Europe. I'm not sure whether it was France or not, but it was, I kind of went along the same lines with this one, and I've got it from different angles, and I tend to not like the straight-on angle as much, but this one kind of has got all the symmetry in it, and for me it works fine, and it's old and it's getting a bit shabby, and the carpet's no, you know,
Yeah.
should be replaced and stuff like that. But it's still a lovely building. So yeah.
It is. I love it, and I love this imagery. I love the retouching. Everything on this image works. This would definitely be in your portfolio for me.
Cool.
The carpet really grosses me out, though.
Yeah, I was thinking whether I should fix that up. Yeah, so it doesn't become distracting. Maybe I should. This one goes back to level 4, and which image defines you. This is one of my favourites. I've got it up as a 1.5 metre by 1 metre thing in my room in my house, but it's actually the original edit I've got up, which annoys me because I think this is better. This is one where I went through the critique and re-edited it afterwards to the way you suggested and got rid of people in the background and reflections and all kinds of stuff, and I do prefer it a lot more.
Good. I like it. I like it too. I remember it from level 4. I am going to just note that as far as your collection goes, this is the only one I've seen so far with a lot of people, so this one will probably stick out a little bit more than others when you're looking at the flow of it. I'm not sure where it would fit with everything else.
Yeah, I wanted to get some shots with people in them because I do have them, and I do actually. I said I do some street photography too, which what wouldn't probably end up in my portfolio, but I think this one kind of crosses the line because it's quite a touristy shot showing one of the iconic laneways of Melbourne, and it would sell to a tourist authority, I think, because it shows exactly what the city's famous for. And it's just got beautiful light there too. So,
for me, and I know you love this one because you picked it as your one image, but for me, looking at all of them together, this one's having a hard time. You're forcing a round peg into a square hole a little bit with this one, not just because of the people, but because of the intimacy of the shot and the fact that so many of your shots have all this grandeur and this sort of openness to them and this expansiveness, and this is almost claustrophobic by comparison because you're in this narrow, shopway. But I still like it as a travel image. So I think you would have to find 1 or 2 more images that are similar that sort of grow and open to the rest of your work, so that it would kind of crescendo visually. So this one's on the chopping block, but I'm not cutting it out yet.
Okay.
Okay.
And this brings us to another shot that sort of combines the architecture and a person, but this is kind of more an art piece. I don't think it would ever sell. Oh, maybe it'd sell for stock. I don't know. But it's I suppose if it's demonstrating a concept or something, introspection or something like that. But yeah, and I edited this one the way you suggested and got rid of all the bits and pieces that that were a little bit distracting, and I've actually got this as a print now. It's up behind me. Yeah. And this was the other one that I was worried about whether it fit into the flow of things. Even though I think it's one of my best images, I do worry whether sometimes you should have 2 portfolios, one that you show people that you want to sell, and the other one that's just your work that you keep because that's the stuff that you really like doing.
You can absolutely do that. Like, I would have a collection, and I think that that's actually a really neat thing to see because it gives you a little unlocking into the mind of the artist. So I'm totally fine with you having a website where you're like, here are my images available for purchase, that I offer as a professional photographer and studio, and then having like a separate link or tab that's, the images that are closest to my heart, or, inside the artist's personal collection. And you can still offer them for sale. It can just be the artist picks. Like, this work is not my traditional output for professional reasons, but here's some of the personal artwork, and for a limited time you can purchase these fine art prints from the artist. I would absolutely use it as an upsell thing, and I would sell them as limited editions in less numbers than the others, so that people would feel like they were getting something really special, because then they buy it and they hang it on the wall and they go, oh, this is the artist's favorite that he ever corrected. This is that Ray Warren, because I love this shot, but you're right, it does not fit at all with the rest of your work. but it's a really, really strong shot, and I love it. So I love the idea of you considering doing that on your site.
Yeah, I think that's something that, well, I do notice that a lot of photographers do have, they put it under personal work or what have you, and maybe this is where that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to do more like this. This is the stuff that come home and really, you know, fist pump the air and go, yes, came home with a great image today.
That's awesome. Then you should definitely include it, and we should work on you having more of it in your portfolio. That's what I want you to do. I want you to feel that way about every single image you create. You should be fist pumping just all the time. Like, I want you to, like, you know, I want you to be coming to critique, like, with your arm in a sling because you're doing it so much and you injured yourself. But I don't want you to hurt yourself. But the enthusiasm I want. So
yeah,
I love this one too. This is a beautiful shot.
Yeah, this is one that I actually overlooked originally, and I actually shot it a couple of years ago, and I overlooked it and just thought, you know what, I've got a vertical of it as well, but I've not included any verticals in this. This is a decision I made it, even though I've got some stuff that I think is pretty strong. It just doesn't fit on a website, and I know that the verticals will be fine for the stock, go into the stock galleries and what have you, but
we're having a ratio problem with it fitting on your website physically.
Yeah. Plus, I just don't do that much of it. I think it almost has to be kept together because the people who edit magazines do look for the verticals. Because the only way you could display this is in a double, what do they call it, a double truck, across 2 pages, which they're unlikely to do. So you've got to have the verticals as well. So I always try to shoot a vertical version of every shot anyway, and I would put those in their own folder, I think, or their own gallery.
Okay. I'm with you. I love this shot. I think it's a beautiful shot, but you also know what sells and what doesn't and why. So those are all very valid points. So I think it could stay. I think it could stay in your website and be something that you offer for licensing anyway. It just probably won't sell to publications then, But I could totally see this in.
And that's the thing that I'm thinking of, and that's the next level that you've got me. Who would buy this stuff? Well, I know from experience so far who buys some of it. I'm not sure about. I haven't got it all 100% down yet, and I certainly, if I knew that well, I would be making a lot of money out of it by now. But I do know that certain things like the sizes and shapes they're looking for, and the fact that they like a lot of empty space where they can put text and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of take that into account. Not so much when I'm shooting them because I don't even think about that. But I'll deliberately shoot vertical as well. But I do it when I'm choosing them because I think, okay, that's got, besides being a nice image, it's got plenty of space for them to put text in that won't go over the top of features, like the buildings. There's plenty of space down the bottom for text. There's plenty of space up between the buildings and the top left. So, yeah, so that'd work. Whereas maybe some of the other stuff I've got just is too busy and would not work for any magazine use.
Yeah. I'd be inclined, though, to crop it in just a little bit so that you get rid of that one building that has the red on the side. That's really distracting me.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only thing. I think you could probably keep the ratio if you wanted, but crop it in and just up a little bit on the water line. But I'd be inclined to get rid of that because I keep looking over at that and it's pulling me away. It's totally just leading your eyes right off the page.
Yep.
So. All right, next one.
Okay. And this one, believe it or not, hasn't had that much processing done to it. It looks like it has, but it was just one of those things. I was across the bay from the city, and the light was really low in the sky right behind me and blasting onto all of these little pleasure boats. Mm-hmm. And the city was in cloud, and it just, to me, almost looked like a painting the way it was. So I just slightly enhanced that, but it's very much the way it looked. So I think this one could go either way. It could either be sold as a print, or it could make it into some sort of publication.
Okay. This is another one that I'm not not really sold on. I think I'd be inclined to cut this one. One, I feel like it's um, not fitting in real well with the rest of them in your style. This one I couldn't. I don't know that I could pick out as yours. If I just
Yeah.
saw it, I don't know that I would be like, oh, that looks like one of Ray's photos. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So for me, that's an instant red flag because we're getting up to the end of Sphere 1, and I really, really want to have everybody leave with a very distinctive style that I can pull out their images, and this one's not hitting that check mark for me. It's a nice photo, you know, and you can definitely offer it up for licensing if you think it'll sell well because of the content, but you know, if I had to pick your images, this one would make it into your portfolio for me.
Sometimes I wish I could just send you a couple of hundred images and say, please pick 20.
Well, you do get to pick your level 20 yourself, so, and you have all of those karma points adding up, so you can actually do that.
Oh, that sounds good, because sometimes I really would like to see what somebody else would choose, because if you're doing a gallery show where it's not actually your show, or you know, where they have invited you but they want you to submit images, they will actually choose a lot of the stuff yourselves, or the ones that I've known about anyway. So I'd be very interested to see what somebody else would choose.
Yeah, so the general idea was that once you crossed over into Sphere 1 and you'd gotten through the first 10 levels, that all those karma points that I've been dealing out and that you guys have been adding up, you can use them at a rate of 1 point per minute, and you can have my time for whatever you want it for. So on critique days like this, if it's not a critique level for you, you can still book a time slot and say, hey, I want an hour of your time to go over, you know, my portfolio, and here's 200 images, let's just yes and no them, or, you know, let's talk marketing, or, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to be able to do. So we can actually do that, and if you are definitely interested in that and want to do that, maybe what I'll do is see if I can pull one or two of the other masters, or even get Trey in when he's back from Antarctica, and that way you can have some other opinions from people that are specifically in your genre too.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we'll work on it. I'll go volunteer someone as tribute.
Okay, this one's out. Go next. Okay, so I tremble as I put this one before you because it's another one from the one region, but I think this one's got a different character. It actually draws you in. Whereas I think I can see with the other one that didn't.
I like this one better, yeah, and this one suits a lot more your style with the, again, that like expansiveness. You just have your images open up. I don't know how else to describe it, but you just feel it like unfolding in front of you, and I think that's what's really powerful about them. So I really like this one, and it definitely wins leaps and bounds over the other winery one for me.
Yeah. So. Actually, I put this on the GPS in my car so I can go back, because this is one of the things that I do, is that I like to go back and see if I can do a better version. But on this one, what I'd like to be able to do is a panoramic version of the same thing. I'd like to have it at least as wide, you know, 3 times as wide as this, to get the whole scape in. But you know, this one as a 3x4 works for me. I'm quite happy with it.
Cool. Yeah, I like it too. That one can stay for now.
Next one. All right, this is more into the art side of what I'm doing, and I have tried to crop this as a panorama, and it doesn't work because I was mucking around with this a lot yesterday. It is more. It actually looks really good as a print. I've done it on canvas. It wouldn't sell as stock. It's definitely just something that you print as a canvas or in a frame or something and stick on the wall. Or maybe they might use it in a magazine piece about, I don't know, haze or something.
I could see it as both. Don't spend too much energy thinking for your potential clients against yourself. Like, if you love the image, don't count out that people will find a use for it for stock. Don't talk yourself out of it, because you tend to do that a lot. Because I could totally see this being probably a really high seller, because people use these images for all kinds of things now. With all the different online vlogs and Pinterest, and you know, like, images just end up everywhere. to be able to use, so you never know who's going to come across it. But I really, really like this image. This is a new favorite of mine from you too. So this would, and it's very different from everything that's in your portfolio, but I still feel like it has your style on it, and there's something almost haunting about it that I really like, that it's, you know, industrial, you know, kind of taking over these, you know, electronic giants
Yeah.
coming through. Looks like one of the like world-ending movie posters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Apocalyptic. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I like it though. It's a really good one. This one would definitely. I can see where it would fit better in your like your personal collection or your art folder, but it still has a lot of elements of your other work that I feel like it might be able to sneak into that one too. But I would definitely put it on your website. I like it.
Okay. Next one. Yeah, this is one that is more like I guess in the lifestyle sort of category, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether I should tell you. It's more. This one's actually a composite because I couldn't in the position. As you can see, I'd be standing in mid-air when I took this shot. So I had to actually shoot it with my arm sticking out and not actually sort of guess where the framing was. So I took several frames and then put them together.
Right.
Yeah, but it is more of a, I don't know, lifestyle, maybe a pop poster sort of deal.
I could see how this might work for a stock image for something, but you know, and I'm totally okay with you making money off of shots that can make you money, but again, I don't think that this fits with all your other work, and I think that it's beneath you in terms of the photographic quality. It's just, you know, I always feel like I'm insulting people when I say this, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Like when you do the square crop and then you have all that warmth, it looks like an Instagram photo. Like
Yeah.
it's very it's very Instagrammy, and that makes me, anything that makes me think Instagram makes me immediately think anybody can do it with a cell phone, which is not something you want anybody thinking about your work.
No.
So this one would go for me, at least off your website. You can still offer it in your stock and your portfolio, like make money off of it by all means, but this wouldn't make your website and your main portfolio for me.
Alrighty. Here's more apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's actually just a hazy day. This is another shot taken from my balcony in Melbourne with a very long lens, and it was just low sun in the sky, really hazy and smoggy, and it was all backlit, and all the pylons on that on-ramp for the freeway was, casting shadows through, and I added grain to it and over did the whole color, so it was almost like a monochromatic shot.
I think that this is your lead-in and your connecting piece if you want to put the other one in with your other work, because you have a lot of the shots that have the elements of the buildings and the bridges that I feel like one of your warmer images before this, and then this one with the building and the bridge and the warmth, and then the next one with the apocalypse, that they would fit together as a series. I love this image. This is another one that I really, really find beautiful, and that I would absolutely take into the Creation Wars to compete, because it's just, there's something very ethereal about it that you don't see, and that's very, very hard to capture when you're photographing inanimate objects. When you're photographing buildings, like you can't get less personal and less emotional attachment than to shoot buildings. They're concrete. Like there's no personal connection. Animals, personal connection. Nature, personal connection. There's that living things element. So when somebody can really move me and cause an emotional reaction to, essentially an industrial kind of shot, that's really difficult for me to connect to on a personal level, and you've accomplished it twice in this one. So this is a really beautiful shot.
Cool, thanks. Getting near the end here. This is one
Yay.
from the last one. Hey, and I fixed that building up.
Yes, and it looks awesome. It looks so much better, and I love this shot. And bravo! I'm giving you 2 points for this image. On top of the actual critique points, like you're getting karma points for it because I love it now.
Now I cropped it in so that this is how it looks when you when it's on a canvas, because one of the things you said before is you didn't like all the room around it, and so this is how it looks. I'm just wondering how I'm going to get around that on my website where they've got to look at it, but then you've got to leave room on it so that when it is printed on canvas, it can or it's framed, that it can it doesn't get cropped down more than this. That's all. So I've got to figure that out. I haven't figured that out yet, and I've also added the some more clouds to the top left that was all blue. Didn't like so. And the build, and I think that's pretty much it.
That's an amazing improvement, and it was a beautiful shot before, but now it's stellar. I have nothing to critique, nothing that I don't like in it. It's gorgeous. Bravo.
Cool, and here's the final one. Fireworks. I know everybody likes fireworks, but I was amazed how much they like fireworks, because I contribute to Flickr, and a couple of New Year's Eves ago I went out and shot a whole lot of stuff, and I managed to make it. I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but they have this thing called Explorer, which is kind of, I guess it's not the top 500, but it's the ones that they choose as the most interesting 500 shots of the day, because they get tens of thousands of uploads. And I got in with fireworks. I got in like 10 days in a row, and I'm thinking, can people really like fireworks that much?
Yeah,
apparently they do. Apparently they do. So this one is from Melbourne, not last New Year's, the New Year before, because I didn't go out last New Year's. Yeah, from the river, and they put on an excellent show. They do it all from. They have fireworks going off from the buildings and from parks all around the city, and it all is timed so that it's all together, and all the same fireworks go off from all the different sites. So no matter where you are, you see the same show, and if you're in the position, you can actually see several of them at the same time. So this is the one on the river. It's the first time I've got down to the river.
Nice. The only thing that kind of throws me off a little bit is there's a whole lot of smoke coming off the one building, and I feel like that little offshoot of it is a little bit overpowering just because it's so white.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
That's the only thing, though. I might be inclined to go in and just kind of dodge and burn a little bit and play with that and see if you could tone that down a little bit. But other than that, I really like the shot. And this is one of those ones where, even though it's a fireworks shot, which I would imagine would be like, in boudoir, it's like the Hambras. Like, I would imagine fireworks would be like one of those cliche things that you're like, oh, fireworks shot. But the reason that cliches exist is because people love them.
Yeah.
So this one I like, and I think that it's well done, and it works with the rest of your images because it still has your very distinctive style in the buildings and the lighting and the water and the nightscape. So I think it works as a whole. It would stay in for me.
Cool. Well, that's the last of the 20.
Awesome. You did well. I didn't cut more than 5, so you survived.
Fantastic. Can you see me again now, or no? Or
no,
do I
I'm
stop?
seeing me.
Oh, there you
there
go.
we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm back.
So we actually spent the entire hour just going through your images, but was there anything specific that you wanted to talk about while you had me one-on-one?
Not really, because I don't think my website is advanced enough to show you too much of it.
Okay.
Well, it's got, it's all the basic stuff's there, but I'm just getting my brain around how I make it so that you can sell both stock and art stuff as well.
Okay.
So,
well,
and instead of calling it a portfolio, I've called it featured images, because I don't know whether writing portfolio on an image on a website that's got 2 different things on it might work. It might be better to call it something else, but
no, I like that. I like featured images.
Yeah. Well, that's something we can talk about in another. Hang on, because I realised that we're going over time a little bit, so make room for the next person.
That's okay. Joni's at 7, so we have a little bit of leeway. But I do wanna sit down and go over your website with you. If you want to set aside some time to do that specifically and look through images, we can do that. Otherwise, we'll make it part of your level 19 critique too, because at that point we should have everything squared away and pretty much be settled, and we can just, you know, do a good once over before we kick you out the door.
Yeah, level 19 we're going to be looking at the book too, and you suggested, because I actually want to do something new this year, so I've got one that's in the process. That part of this road trip I'm doing next month is to finish it, to get
Okay.
a few key shots that I want to get from the air that will finish it off. But that's just a touristy sort of book. I would also like to get, it might be too ambitious to try to get the start of a, pardon me, an art book as well going.
Awesome. I like
And
it.
we can look at,
I love too ambitious. I absolutely applaud and push too ambitious. There's no such thing. If it's in you, you should absolutely do it. Don't. Too ambitious is another word for I'm scared.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking in terms of time, being able to fit it all in, because it's nice to get this in-depth critique of what's going, you know, of my stuff, and if you feel like you're rushing through it,
It's my dog running around like an idiot.
if you feel like you're rushing through it, it might not work for either of us. So yeah, we'll have to schedule some time to do that.
Okay, yeah, let's look maybe next week. I'm gonna have more time for critiques next week because we can get everyone in. So we'll take some time and we'll go through it then, and I'll give you my undivided attention. But you did really well. Those were some harsh critiques, and you still scored like incredibly high. Like your work is definitely rounding out to where it's all very easy to pick as yours.
Thank you.
And that's good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to level 15.
Excellent. Thanks.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.